Hey, what is going on, patrons? Today is day one of Azumi Game Dev, and what I wanted to try and do is I want to try and keep a log, a journal, a sort of way of documenting daily progress on this game. So you can kind of see it being built in semi-real time. I will be working probably at least Monday through Wednesdays every week on the game. Thursday, Friday, Saturday, I usually do more 3D stuff, but I'll probably be doing 3D stuff now for the game. So I suppose on those days I'll update more along the lines of models and asset building for the game. But I want to try and do these as frequently as possible when there's something actually interesting to talk about, and force myself to work on it daily, even though I don't think that's going to be a problem. I'm pretty interested in getting this project off the ground. But as always, I'll let you guys know what is going on as frequently as possible. And these will only be for patrons, so you guys get to see behind-the-scenes peek before anybody else on how this game is progressing. So today's day one. I got a really bad caffeine migraine, so I was out of commission for like 2 hours trying to sleep it off. However, I got a fair bit amount done today, and I'll show you where I'm at. So if anybody has been following the game before, because I kind of started the project a little while ago in Godot, I'm kind of just recreating what I did in Godot, which is setting up the player character, Azumi herself. So a lot of this is similar to what we did before in Godot. However, Godot took me like 2 months to do. I'm already further in 1 day of working in Construct. So Construct is fucking sick. It's kind of baby mode, but again, if you recall, my whole purpose of starting Azumi is to ship something, and I feel like I can probably get a playable like alpha or pre-alpha in you guys' hands to start testing it if you want to very soon, because like 2 months down to a day of doing the exact same thing and then some, because I have hitboxes set up now, which I didn't have before in Godot. So like this shit is fast. So you can see right now I just have a really simple test level set up, and I got Azumi. If you double click on her, you can see all the animations in here that I've been building so far. Not everything is completely set up yet, but most of it is. The way Construct works is that instead of doing like coding, like line by line coding, they have what's called event sheets. And so this says you have a condition on this side and then an action. So for example, you can say, if the keyboard right arrow is pressed, don't mirror the sprite. If the keyboard left arrow is pressed, mirror the sprite. So you have like little actions like that, and these events all trigger every frame, which Construct calls a tick. So 60 times per second, this entire sheet will be run. So whatever's on here will constantly be checking to see what states change and things like that. And it's very simple, but there's a lot of power behind it. So I have a lot of things here. I'm using the free version of Construct right now. So there's a lot of like kind of redundant things, because there's groups that Construct calls families, where you can group certain actions together. And they don't let you do that in the free version because they only limit you to 100 events before you gotta pay. And right now, just for Azumi setup so far, I'm at 44 events. So like half of my event is done just to get the basic movement done. And if I had groups, I could probably pull it down to about 30. But this controls basic movement, jumping, running, collisions with walls, and attacks. So attacks was the most difficult thing to get done in Godot, and it was a little bit difficult to get done here. So how I have it set up is that I have a condition down here. So attack 1, oh, that's the finished ones. Yeah, so I set up a local variable for the player called combo count, and every time you attack, that goes up by 1 up to 3, and that basically determines which attack animation is going to play. Once it hits 4, it resets back to 1 after a short delay. So you do your 3-hit combo, then you have to wait half a second before you can attack again, so you can't just keep spamming it over and over again. Puts a little bit of a limit in there. And that's how this works. For example, if you want to look at this one right here, keyboard on X pressed, so the X key is going to be the attack button, and then as long as the variable is combo count equals 1, so the first one, and then set the attack to animation 1, spawn a hitbox, and then pin the hitbox to the player. So right now it's kind of like you can still move while attacking, so the hitbox stays with the blade as opposed to just kind of staying behind you. So let's actually look at this. So if we bring this up in the preview mode, you can kind of see how it works. So arrow keys, oops, let me actually click on it so we can actually move. Arrow keys move around. You can see the animations work. I have it set right now with dynamic jumping as well. So if I tap the jump, it's like a short jump. If I tap and hold, you jump higher. And then if I hit X, you can see the attacks. Now those boxes are going to be invisible in the final version of the game, but those are the hit boxes for each strike, and I wanted to make sure that they were working correctly. It's one of the hardest things. The reason I had to stop working in Godot is that I couldn't get the hitboxes to mirror properly. So if you face the other way, the hitboxes will still be on this side. In Construct, it pretty much does it automatically, which is nice. So the way it works is that every time you hit, it changes that variable, the combo count. So it goes up to 3, and then it stops, and you can keep going. And once the animation is completed, the combo count automatically resets back down to 1. So I don't like attack once, and then like the next time I hit it again, like a million years later, I'll still be on the second part of the combo. After every animation finishes, it automatically resets that variable back down. So that works pretty well. You can see I have like the running, which is good. It's got a little bit of what's the word? Physics, I suppose. Like you kind of come to a stop as opposed to just instantly stopping. There's also collision, so I have a little animation that plays if you push up against the wall. She kind of is like, let me through. We go here, we jump over here. Collisions are working okay. I think I need to fix the box, the hitbox for Izumi herself. She kind of floats there. Something that still needs to be fixed. But, you know, little things. Jumping works fine. Collisions seem to work fine. And I'll just set those boxes to be invisible on startup, which is something you can do. So in the main game, the boxes will still be there, they just won't be visible. Because those are going to determine, like, if there's an enemy overlapping those boxes, that's how a hit's going to be done. There's also a hitbox on Izumi herself, but it's already invisible, so you can't see it. But I was just having these visible for testing purposes, again, to make sure they're all being placed correctly. And then when I first started, I just forgot to set the boxes to auto-destroy, so they would just be, you just leave tons of hitboxes in your wake, which would not really work very well. So every time an animation finishes, you can see the box automatically destroys itself, so they don't keep stacking. So there's a lot of like little bit of janitorial logic, I suppose, to keep these things working, but so far it works pretty well. The game's kind of chugging right now, just because I'm doing screen capture. It usually runs pretty close to 60 frames when I'm not recording. For some reason, I have like 12 cores, and like streaming software is bringing this poor computer to its knees. So that's unexpected. I think I'm recording at like 18 FPS, even though I set it to 60, so yeah. 12 cores and 48 gigs of RAM, and streaming 720p. Killing the computer. Well, this is where we're at so far. This is day 1. This is the basic stuff, you know? This is the entire basis of the game, is player control and game feel. I also have a little crouch animation, I forgot. So the hitbox for her actually gets a little smaller when you crouch, so maybe dodging projectiles. Other things I still want to set up for Izumi that I haven't done yet. I'm going to give her a dodge of some sort. Not a dodge roll. I think her head is going to be too big to animate a roll in any sort of believable fashion. It would look goofy. So I'm probably going to add a maybe like kind of like a ninja teleport sort of thing. So if we want to quickly dodge out of the way, maybe we'll use like the Z button. Right now I plan on using Z, X, and C. And then C, I have it set to jump right now, but the problem is for some reason, if you don't use the up arrow for jump, you can't sustain the jump. So I can only, no matter how much I press this, it only jumps that high. But if I use the up arrow, which is like the default control for jump, you can hold it and jump higher. So if I can figure out a way around that, X will be jump, and then I'll just have up, the up arrow be like look up, and maybe it'll pan the camera up a little bit if you want to, you know, something out of like Sonic 2 or something like that. If not, I do want to have like some shurikens, kind of like Revenge of Shinobi. So, I mean, there were kunai in that, but I'm going to give Izumi, maybe you can pick up some shurikens and throw shurikens, maybe stun enemies or something like that, or do a little bit of chip damage. So, yeah, those are the things that still need to be implemented, as well as, like, collision detection for, like, hits. So I have, like, an animation where she gets hit, she can, like, jump back a little bit, kind of get you out of harm's way so you don't just get, you know, tanked by something. I'll probably also turn off collisions so you can like pass through other enemies when hit. You'll be in like an invincibility state so you can't just keep getting hit over and over again. And then I have to set up her life bar and stuff like that. But I figured movement was the most important part because that's the entire feel of the game. So this is working pretty well. I don't have a lot to complain about so far, and I was able to get a month's worth of Godot work set up in a day. and when I say a day, I mean like maybe like 4 hours of work, if that. So Construct's pretty sick. I like it. I'm going to keep working with it. And I will update you guys again tomorrow with whatever I do tomorrow.